There's a version of you out there, richer, stronger, sharper, unstoppable, and every second you waste, he gets further away. You don't need motivation, you need a funeral. Bury the weak you, or die never meeting the man you were meant to become. Every morning you wake up and lie to yourself. You roll over, check your phone, flood your brain with distraction before you even stood up. And then you wonder why you're stuck. You wonder why you're broke, why you're weak, why nothing seems to change. It's because your mindset is poisoned. You've been tricked into believing that you're supposed to feel ready before you act. That's not how winners operate. Winners act regardless of how they feel. The man who waits for motivation will always lose to the man who moves with purpose. The truth is simple. You're not tired, you're uninspired. You're not overwhelmed, you're under-disciplined. And it's not the world holding you back, it's the weakness in your own mind. The voice that tells you to take a break, to skip today, to start next week, that voice is your enemy, and until you learn to kill it, you will always be a prisoner. People love to say, it's too hard. Like the struggle is some unfair punishment, but the pain is the price. You cannot evolve without pressure. You do not grow without resistance. Diamonds are born in fire, not comfort. You know, what you call pressure, I call the proving ground. You think you're being tested? You are. Every single day, life is asking you one question: are you worthy? And every day you answer, not with your words, but with your actions. You either prove yourself or you don't. There's no third option. And if you keep failing the test, don't cry about the results. Don't whine about why you're not living the life you want. You're not unlucky, you're undisciplined. You're not cursed, you're uncommitted. Your results are screaming the truth you're too scared to admit. People look for secrets, shortcuts, magic hacks, as if greatness is hiding behind a YouTube ad. It's not. There is no secret. The formula is as old as time. Wake up early, train hard, work harder, sacrifice comfort, eliminate weakness, repeat forever. That's the recipe. That's the path. And no, it's not sexy, it's not easy, it's not fun, but it's what works. It's what builds monsters. And if you want to be one of the elite, if you want to command respect, build power, and live free, then you better learn to love the grind. The average man fears discomfort. He hides from it. But the man of power, he chases it. He wants the pressure. He wants the pain because he knows that's where his edge is sharpened. Comfort is the enemy. It whispers lies to the mind. It kills ambition in silence. Every soft bed, every skipped workout, every snoozed alarm, it's death by 1,000 tiny cuts. And by the time you realize what you've lost, it's too late. The world doesn't wait for the lazy to catch up. It rewards the obsessed, the relentless, the men who rise before the sun and grind while others dream. But here's what they never tell you. You're not stuck, you're not broken, you're not doomed to stay average, you just haven't committed yet, you haven't made the choice. Because once you decide, truly decide, everything changes. That fire you feel in your chest, that restlessness, that deep gnawing hunger for more, that's not a curse. That's the call. That's the primal voice inside every man who was born to lead, born to conquer, born to lead a legacy. And the moment you stop silencing it with junk food, porn, cheap dopamine, and lazy friends, the moment you start feeding it discipline, focus, and action, you will become dangerous. And that's the goal, to become dangerous. Not in violence, but in presence, in purpose, in the energy you bring when you walk into a room. The man who's truly disciplined doesn't need to raise his voice. People feel his power before he speaks. That's what mindset builds. That's what discipline creates. And it all starts with one moment when you look in the mirror and say, enough. I refuse to live like this another day. Because deep down, you know you were meant for more. You know you weren't born to be average. You weren't built to be weak, broke, and forgotten. You were born to dominate. You were born to rise. You were born to be remembered. But none of that happens unless you're willing to kill the version of yourself that's holding you back. The lazy you, the scared you, the one who lives for comfort. That version of you, let him die, and in his place, build a man who cannot be broken. You don't need permission to change. You don't need luck or signs or perfect timing. You need one thing: ruthlessness with yourself. Ruthless discipline, ruthless honesty, ruthless execution. Because motivation is not a mood, it's a mindset. It's not some momentary spark. It's a decision you make every damn day. And when you lock in, when you truly commit, when you say, I will win or I will die trying, that's when the world starts moving out of your way. So don't wait. Don't hesitate. Stop reading and start acting. Because there's no cavalry coming. There's no easy way out. There's only you, your will, and the life you're building, one decision at a time. And if you don't take control now, someone else will, and you'll be forced to watch them live the life you were too scared to fight for. I remember sitting alone in a tiny, cold apartment, no heating, no food in the fridge, no money in the account, just silence. Heavy, unforgiving silence. You don't know how loud your thoughts are until the world around you is dead quiet. I had nothing. No safety net, no one checking in, no applause, no backup plan. It was me versus reality, and reality didn't care if I broke. That's the first real lesson. No one's coming to save you. The world owes you nothing, and it will test you without mercy until you decide you're either going to fold like everyone else or fight until you carve your name into history. That period of my life wasn't a phase, it was a crucifixion. Every day felt like drowning with my eyes open, but I didn't run. I didn't escape into a bottle or blame the system or cry about how life wasn't fair. I made a vow. This pain will either bury me or build me. And I chose the second one, not because it was easier, but because pain, when embraced, becomes power. You only grow when you're stretched, broken, stripped of comfort, and forced to reconstruct yourself from the ash. And once you do, you become someone who cannot be moved by life's storms because you've already walked through fire and smiled. No one sees the years where you're grinding with no results, the nights where you stare at the ceiling wondering if it's all a waste. But that's where champions are built, not in the spotlight, but in the shadows, when no one's watching, when no one believes in you, when even you start to doubt yourself, but you still move forward, because deep inside, there's something louder than fear. Hunger. Hunger to become the man you were meant to be. If the dream doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. And if it doesn't hurt, you're not working hard enough. That mindset, that standard became my foundation. I wasn't the strongest. I wasn't the smartest. I wasn't born with privilege or connections. What I had was focus, grit, and a refusal to quit. Every time life knocked me down, I got back up more dangerous than before, because each hit taught me something. Each failure sharpened my instincts. Each loss humbled me into evolving. And that's the beauty most men miss. The setback isn't your enemy. It's your invitation to grow. Weak men stay down. Strong men use the fall as leverage to launch even higher. And soon, what used to break you becomes your warm-up. What used to scare you becomes your fuel. People think confidence is some gift you're born with. It's not. It's built. Layer by layer, rep by rep. It's built in the gym when your body says stop and you go one more. It's built in business when the deal falls through and you still make calls. It's built in isolation when no one claps for you, but you clap for yourself and keep building anyway. That's real confidence. It's earned in war, not handed out in peace. And when you've earned it, no one can take it from you because it's not based on approval. It's rooted in your history of doing hard things when it mattered most. There were days I wanted to quit. I'd be lying if I said otherwise. Days where it all felt pointless, where the dream felt miles away. But every time I got to that edge, that breaking point, I'd hear this voice in my head, clear and sharp. Is this how your story ends? And just like that, I'd stand back up. Because even if the world gave me nothing, I still had a choice. And I chose movement. I chose effort. I chose to outwork every excuse. And brick by brick, I built an unshakable life. Not perfect, but powerful. Not easy, but earned. You see, mindset isn't something you switch on for motivation and switch off for comfort. It's a full-time lifestyle. It's a declaration to the universe. No matter what you throw at me, I will not fold. I will adapt. I will grow, and I will win. And when you live that truth daily, not occasionally, your entire energy shifts. People feel it. Doors open, opportunities appear. Because the world moves for men who refuse to be victims of their circumstance. If you're struggling right now, good. Let that pain shape you. Let it become the fuel that turns your name into a legacy. Because the world remembers the men who built empires from nothing. The ones who refused to die quietly. The ones who turned rejection into redirection and scars into strength. You can be that man if you want it bad enough. If you're willing to go through the fire and come out forged. And if no one has told you this today, I will. You are not finished. You are just beginning. Everything you've been through was preparation. All the betrayal, all the failure, all the silence It wasn't punishment. It was training to carry a bigger destiny. And now it's time to cash in. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. The man who waits will always serve the man who acts. So act, move, build, win. Because you're not a victim, you're a weapon. And it's time to be sharpened. You don't realize how little time you have until it's too late. That's the biggest scam life pulls on men. It convinces you that tomorrow is guaranteed, that you've got time to waste, distractions to chase, dopamine to drown in. But one day you wake up and you're 35, broke, weak, addicted to comfort, and nobody respects you, not even yourself. And by then, it's not a nightmare, it's your reality. The clock doesn't care how tired you are. It moves forward whether you move with it or not. Every second you spend doing nothing is a second closer to being forgotten. That should terrify you. Fear isn't your enemy, it's your compass. If something scares you, that's the direction you should run towards, not away from. The gym should scare you. Discipline should intimidate you. Building a business, facing rejection, sacrificing comfort, it should all shake your bones. But here's the truth. Fear is the gatekeeper to greatness. Every man you admire had to walk through fear to earn that admiration. There's no shortcut, no safety net, no hack. Either you confront what paralyzes you or you let it own you forever. Most men choose safety, but safety is slow death, a coffin with the illusion of comfort. The idea that you'll start next week or when you're ready is the biggest lie you've ever told yourself, because readiness doesn't exist. If you wait for perfect timing, you'll wait forever. Winners don't need the stars to align. They pull the stars into place with blood and obsession. If you're not moving now, you never will. Waiting is a symptom of weakness. That internal voice telling you to pause is fear disguised as logic. Crush it. Move anyway, because the world doesn't slow down while you sit still, and opportunities don't knock twice. They vanish the second you hesitate. You ever feel that panic, that ache in your chest when you think about how fast life is slipping? That's not anxiety. That's your soul begging you to wake up. It knows you're meant for more, but you're sedated by screens, poisoned by comfort, buried in distractions. You chase dopamine while your destiny rots in the dark. And years from now, you'll scream inside when you realize what you could have been. Hell isn't fire. It's meeting the man you could have become and realizing you're nothing like him. Let that vision haunt you. Let it torture you into action. There's a man out there right now waking up at 5 a.m., training like a savage, studying like a machine, building wealth, mastering discipline. And every day you sleep in, every time you skip the gym, every time you scroll instead of build, he widens the gap. And one day he'll dominate the position you could have had. You'll see him win. You'll see him respected. And deep down, you'll know it should have been you. You chose comfort. You chose softness. The future belongs to the obsessed, not the entertained. And obsession has a cost, sacrifice. You're not paying that cost, you're not in the game. You think it's cool to take it slow? You think you've got time to waste your 20s partying, skipping workouts, ignoring your potential? Fine. But understand this, life is a ruthless accountant. It always collects the debt. One way or another, you will pay for your laziness. If not now, then later. In regret, in missed chances, in a weaker body, a foggy mind, a bank account full of zeros, and a life full of what-ifs. It will sting more than knowing it was your own choices that did this. Discipline is pain now, or regret forever. Choose. Look around. Most men are already lost, walking ghosts, no fire in their eyes, no hunger, just scrolling, coping, settling. They're not living. They're existing, and the system loves that. Weak men are easy to control, easy to tax, to drug, to silence. That's why your rebellion starts with self-mastery. You want to escape the matrix, start by becoming a weapon. Physically, mentally, financially, every time you choose pain over pleasure, discomfort over distraction, you break another link in the chain. Freedom is earned through suffering. Slavery is chosen through comfort. Pick your side. And if you're thinking, but I've already wasted years, good. Use that as fuel. Let the guilt, the shame, the regret become your ignition. That's the edge you need. Because when you truly get sick of your own excuses, when you look in the mirror and hate what you see, that's the moment you flip the switch. And when the switch is flipped, no one can stop you. Not genetics, not your past, not your environment. The man who becomes obsessed with transformation is unstoppable. You can become him if you're ready to die to your old self and be reborn through fire. But the urgency is real. Time is burning. And you are not entitled to another year, another month, not even another day. You either act now or you surrender your entire future to chance. But you weren't built for chance. You were built to conquer, to lead, to win. So stop playing small. Stop thinking survival. Start thinking domination. Comfort will cost you your kingdom. Move now or never. The difference between the men who make history and the men who are forgotten isn't talent, it's obsession. The men who win are the ones who decide they will not live a normal life. They burn the bridges, they delete plan B, they embrace the pain. You think greatness happens by accident? You think men become legends by convenience? No. They suffer for it, they bleed for it, and they smile through the torment because they know what's waiting on the other side. Success doesn't come to those who want it. It comes to those who are willing to suffer for it longer than everyone else. That's the truth most can't handle. You've been lied to. They told you self-love means taking breaks, being kind to yourself, being patient. No. Real self-love is discipline. It's dragging yourself out of bed when your body screams to stay down. It's rejecting the party, the drinks, the girls, not because you're weak, but because you're building a future that demands everything from you. Discipline is the highest form of self-respect. When you live like a savage, when your routine is sharper than your excuses, when your standards are non-negotiable, you start to love the man in the mirror, not because you were told to, but because you've earned it. You cannot be a king if you live like a peasant. You cannot expect loyalty, respect, admiration if you haven't built yourself into someone worthy of it. You want people to follow you? Lead yourself first. Control your urges, master your time, harden your body, sharpen your mind. Every rep, every early morning, every dollar saved, every book studied, they're bricks in the fortress you're building. A man who conquers himself becomes ungovernable. And when you reach that level, no opinion shakes you, no setback breaks you, no rejection defines you. You become dangerous, and the world respects danger. You think the pain of training, of working late, of missing out is unbearable. Wait until you feel the pain of being average. Wait until you taste the regret of wasted years. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of mediocrity is forever. And most men will carry that weight to their grave. You will suffer either way. Choose the suffering that makes you stronger. You have to stop looking for the easy route. The easy path leads to soft bodies, soft minds, and soft lives. The hard path builds steel, and steel men are the only ones who carve their names into this world. Every day you wake up is a war against weakness, against doubt, against comfort. But you don't retreat, you don't hide, you advance, you walk into the storm, because you know that everything you want, power, success, respect, lives inside that pain, and most will never find it because they're too scared to look. But you're different. You don't fear the fire, you become it. The storm doesn't destroy you, it reveals who you really are. And every time you survive it, you emerge harder, sharper, more relentless than ever. Stop looking for motivation in other people. You are the source, you are the engine, you are the one who chooses whether to become a beast or remain a boy. The world owes you nothing. You don't get rewarded for potential, you get rewarded for execution, for sacrifice, for proving every single day that you're not like the rest. Consistency isn't sexy, but it's undefeated. The man who shows up even when he doesn't want to, even when nobody sees him, even when nothing is going right, that man becomes invincible. Because his power isn't borrowed, it's built. If you could see the life waiting for you, the body, the money, the freedom, the respect, you'd destroy every excuse you've ever made. You'd laugh at your doubts. You'd be disgusted by your own procrastination. But you can't see it yet because you haven't suffered enough. That's the brutal truth. Pain is the price of clarity. Only when you're sick of your own mediocrity does your transformation begin. Till then, you'll play small, you'll seek comfort, you'll pretend you're working, while deep down you know you're hiding. But once you flip the switch, once you say, I refuse to live like this anymore, everything changes. Your energy shifts, your presence becomes different. You walk into rooms and people feel it. Not because you're loud, not because you're arrogant, but because you become rare. A man of discipline, a man of vision, a man who doesn't flinch. And in a world of weak men, that makes you a god. You've got one shot at this, one life, one body, one mind, and you're wasting it, chasing approval, chasing pleasure, chasing ease. Let them laugh now. Let them doubt you. Let them mock your grind, because one day they'll watch you rise. They'll watch you dominate. They'll remember every second they doubted you, And you won't even look back. They'll say you changed. No, you became who you were meant to be. This is it. This is the line. You either cross it and become a weapon, or you turn around and die a slave to your comfort. Right now, in this moment, you are at war with yourself. And the truth is brutal. No one's coming to save you. Not your family, not your friends, not some motivational video, not your future self. It's you, only you. And until you understand that, you will keep circling the drain of mediocrity, hoping life changes while refusing to change yourself. Nothing around you changes until something within you snaps. That snap, that's the moment you say, I'm done living like this. You keep waiting for the perfect day, the right opportunity, the sudden surge of energy, but they never come. That's the trap. You think success is built in moments of hype, but it's forged in silence, in repetition, in blood and sweat when no one's watching. Every second you hesitate, you're digging your grave. Every excuse you give is another brick in your coffin. If you died tomorrow, would you be proud of the man you were today? Think about that. Would you die fulfilled or full of regret? Because that answer, that gut-wrenching truth, is the compass. The man who fears regret more than failure becomes unstoppable. You want to be respected? Earn it. You want to be rich? Bleed for it. You want freedom? Sacrifice for it. There's no magic, no shortcut, no handout that's going to do the work for you. And deep down, you already know that. You're not lazy. You're undisciplined. You're not broken. You're unfocused. You don't lack time. You lack purpose. And until you face that, until you take that version of you that's soft, tired, weak, addicted, distracted, and bury him, you'll never meet the man you were born to be. Transformation isn't becoming someone else. It's killing the version of you that was never enough. There are men out there right now grinding harder than you, training while you scroll, building while you complain, dominating while you procrastinate. You think life is fair? Life doesn't care. It rewards effort. It bows to hunger. It bends for the obsessed. You want to win? Then become a man worthy of victory. You want to lead? Then build yourself into someone who cannot be ignored. If your presence doesn't demand respect, your absence won't be noticed. Respect isn't given. It's seized through action so undeniable that silence becomes impossible. This is your moment. Not tomorrow, not next week, not after the holidays, now. You either rise or you rot. You either suffer for your future or you suffer from your past. You either build a life that forces people to ask, how did he do it? Or you blend into the background as another man who talked big but never moved. The difference between winners and losers is simple. One acts, the other waits. You've waited long enough, you've doubted long enough, you've settled long enough, that weak voice in your head telling you to rest, to take it easy, to be realistic. That voice is the enemy. Kill it. You don't need more motivation. You need a standard. You need a code you refuse to violate no matter how you feel. You need a fire inside you that burns hotter than your excuses, because once you decide that your life is non-negotiable, nothing can stop you. You'll train when you're tired. You'll work when it hurts. You'll push when it's easier to quit. And that's when everything changes. Not because the world gets easier, but because you get strong. Your life bends to the level of pain you're willing to endure without folding. So take the pain, embrace it, grow through it. This isn't about money. It's not even about success. It's about becoming a man of worth, a man of power, a man who commands his life. The body's just a reflection. The wealth is just a byproduct. The cars, the clothes, the lifestyle, they're side effects. The real goal is to become someone who walks into any room and everyone feels it. Not because you said a word, but because your energy is forged from suffering and self-respect. When you build yourself in silence, the world will echo your name. That's the life you're capable of, but only if you fight for it. So here's the truth. No more second chances, no more pity parties, no more blaming the world, your past, your parents, your pain. Use it, fuel it. Let the betrayal, the heartbreak, the failure sharpen your edge. This is your rebirth. From this point forward, your words mean nothing. Your actions are everything. Wake up with rage in your blood. Train like the man you admire. Work like you're already behind. Move like time is hunting you down. Because it is. Every day you waste is another day you could have been better, richer, stronger, wiser. So why are you still waiting? You're not the victim, you're the weapon. but only if you choose to be. Stand up, breathe deep, lock in, and go. The old version of you is dead. Bury him with silence. Burn the excuses, break the chains, and become the man the world never saw coming. You were not born to blend in. You were born to bend the world to your will.
I want you to get pen and paper and write down everything you want to achieve in the next 4 years, the children you want to have, the car you want to drive, the money you want to make. I guarantee you, every single thing you write down on that piece of paper is going to come true.
One of the questions I get from a lot of people is like, how, like I have I have a nephew, I have a brother, I have a father who's matrix minded. How do I save these people? What would you say? How do we save them?
Well, the easiest way is by example. The easiest way is just to win so ruthlessly that they are forced to accept the brutal reality of their inferiority. The easiest way to do it. And often, especially if they're an older brother or a father or someone who has authority over you, the only way to do it is to just surpass them and say, listen, you didn't believe a year ago. You may not believe now. Let's talk in a year. Do you believe yet? Do you believe yet? The day they need to borrow money, they'll believe. That's how it works. So often, because it's amazing how people block their mind out to other ideas, because it's very important for people at home to understand that. I said this many times before, that there's only 3 reasons why you're not rich, and I stick by this. Anybody on the planet can be rich, and if you're not rich, there's one of 3 reasons. You're either lazy, you're arrogant, or you're stupid. Now, most people think it's stupid. Most people go, everyone's stupid. I would argue that only 5% of people are too stupid to get rich. There's a whole lot of stupid people with money.
Yes.
You don't have to be smart to make money. You can have a mid-wit IQ, you can have a low IQ. If you can follow instructions, you can make money. Stupid is very rare. People are not stupid. They're one of 2 things. They're either lazy or they're arrogant. So if I had a Ferrari and a map and it led all the way to the end of a rainbow with gold and a leprechaun, and I gave 3 people the Ferrari, well, the stupid one wouldn't know how to drive, right? The stupid one would be like, I can't drive this car, I don't know how. But that's rare. What you actually have is lazy and arrogant. The other guy, the lazy guy, would say, it's so far. Why is it so far away? And I'd say, look, I built you a Ferrari. It doesn't get easier than this. It's the best it's ever going to be. There's no other better vehicle on the planet. We have no competition, and we guarantee you gold at the end of the rainbow. Yeah, but it's a long drive. Well, then do you want it or not? Well, I want the gold. I just want it now. Well, you can't have it now, but you can have it in a few weeks if you start driving now. And if you can't have it now, the best time to start is now, so you have it as soon as possible. Oh, it's far. So you have lazy people, and then you have arrogant people. And I would actually say 5% of people are too stupid. Only 15% of people are too lazy. If you tell the average person, do this, you make money. I'm telling you now, if I had a handle you could turn and money came out, and you put someone there, most people would just stand there all day and go, fuck it. All day. Just staring at the wall. All day. Money, money, all day. They're not too stupid to use the handle, and they're not too lazy to turn it. Most people, 80% of people who aren't rich are arrogant. 80% of people, when you try and tell them what to do, they don't want to listen. When you say, here's a Ferrari, here's the map, the gold's at the end, you know I'm not lying because I have lots of gold and I have lots of Ferraris and I'm rich, and you listen to me because you know who I am, so here, go. Yeah, I don't like that route. I don't want a red Ferrari.
Yeah.
You're a nobody. Drive. No, I don't want a red Ferrari. I've always wanted a yellow one. And why are you taking the I-95? Don't like that road? Nah, not for me. I'll work it out myself. And they walk off into the forest.
It's true. It's true.
And they stay poor forever. And I'm standing there with my gold, my map, and my Rari, like, what the fuck? What are you doing? We talk about arrogance and laziness and reason people aren't rich. If they accept what you're saying is true, then action is required. Which is why a lot of people pretend things, simply to try and mask. They're deeply offended by the idea of having to do work. But they're sitting there saying, I don't want to act, so I'll pretend that's not true. And that's not just with money, that's political also. I don't want to have to sit there and do those calls to make money, so I'll pretend that I wouldn't make money if I did it. That is the bottom line of most people's mindset. It's a degree of cowardice. It's a form of cowardice.
Yes.
Luke and I grew up poor and now we're rich. And he says to me, you know, poor people are poor for a reason. And I'm like, I know.
Right.
He goes, because when I try and talk to poor people, they reply arrogantly like they know things. They won't take the Ferrari. They won't take the map. They tell me that they know better and they're going to do it their way and that their friend has this idea and that they want to go do this. And they all just stay poor forever. These idiots are too arrogant and get rich. Guys, if you're not arrogant and you're not lazy and you're not stupid, all you have to do is follow instructions. You don't even have to think.
Yeah.
They said do this, I will do this. They said be here for this call, I will be there for this call. They said do this quiz, I'll do this quiz. They said watch this video, I'll watch this video. If you just listen, you'll win. I became a kickboxing world champion by listening. I didn't think. Amir said do this, yes sir. Do it that way, yes sir. Stop doing this, do that, yes sir. Yes, I made my way to the very, very top with one word, yes. And you have all these brokies and arrogant people who've achieved nothing, who have all these words to say. And I'm like, where the fuck did you get these words from? Why are you talking? You have no authority here.
Why did you listen to Amir, though?
Well, that's actually a very good question. And the reason I listened to Amir is because my first ever day in Storm, when I went there, it wasn't a commercial fighting gym. It was just 8 Bosnian guys. And I turned up and he said, can you fight? And I was like 18. I'm like, yeah. And I got knocked out cold. And when I woke up, I thought, okay, I can't fight like I thought. And I guess he expected to never see me again. But there I was the next day, walking in with my bag going, let's go again, round 2, because that's who I am. And I believed in him because he proved his competence. There is a lot of excuses for laziness. There's a lot of them. And what people will often do, I see this a lot, is people come to me and they pretend to be confused about things to try and justify their inaction. So I'll say, jump on one leg and spin in a circle and you'll begin to make money. And instead of jumping on one leg and spinning in a circle, they'll sit and say, but okay, which leg? I'm like, it doesn't matter. Okay, and what shoes do I wear? It doesn't matter. Okay, and what clothes do I wear? It doesn't matter. Okay, and can I use a trampoline? No. Okay. And how long do I jump for? You are just trying to pretend you're learning to stop yourself from needing to jump. That's what you're doing. I told you what to do. Go do it. If it doesn't work, come back to me and we'll talk and we'll analyze what you may have done right or wrong. But the fact that I told you to do something and now you don't want to admit you're too lazy to do it. So instead you're pretending. So you say, I can take you from $0 a month to $10,000 a month in a few short weeks. They will then hide their laziness. They'll obscure their laziness behind, I don't want $10,000 a month. I want $1 million. They'll hide it behind their false ambition. Well, if you want $1 million, 10,000's closer than 0, dipshit. Yeah. So go. They're not ambitious. They're trying to hide their laziness behind ambition. And it happens all the time, especially with trying to hide their laziness behind this quest for knowledge. When someone says to me, hey, should I buy crypto? My answer is, if you want. I don't answer, if you want. I'm like, well, do you have some? Yeah. So should I buy it? I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you want, like, I'm not being responsible for your decisions. Because if it goes up, I don't get any money. And if it goes down, you cry at me. I don't see what the point of this is. Fuck off. So anyway, he goes, should I buy Bitcoin? I said, if you want. He goes, well, I'm undecided. I was like, all right, well, what you should do is make a bunch of money, go work harder, do extra hours in your peasant job so that you have some money you could afford to lose in a worst case scenario. And then you can buy some Bitcoin and still pay your rent. And then it's win-win. If it goes up, it goes up. If it goes down, it doesn't matter. Your rent's still paid. Anyway, I saw him a few weeks later. He's like, I've been really reading about that Bitcoin. I've been looking into Bitcoin and the treasury and all this shit. The blockchain. Yeah. He's telling me more about Bitcoin than I know. I've got 1,000 Bitcoin. I don't even know this. I'm like, bro, you spent all those weeks reading instead of working to try and pretend you were getting closer to your goal of owning Bitcoin. You still have no Bitcoin because you still have no money. It doesn't matter what you read. You don't know. I don't know what you know, and I have all the Bitcoin, and I don't know what you know. I know enough to know it's a good investment. I'm not sitting there measuring the hash rate like a dickhead. You are, and you have 0.1 Bitcoin. You should have gone to work and just bought some. So he is trying to pretend he's educating himself, but he's not, really, truthfully. He's just trying to hide his laziness and obscure laziness behind this thirst and quest for knowledge. Yeah. And it's amazing how the world actually kind of works that way. The amount of investments I've made, and I've made so much money on, not because I researched, just because I had money at the time. I bought like Dubai real estate, and all the people around me were like, it's going to go down. There's going to be a crash, all this shit. And I was like, but the money's just sitting in my bank and I don't care. Let it go down. It'll go up again. I'll sell it later. And I bought at literally the perfect time. Then the Ukraine war happened and all doubled overnight when no one else was buying because they were researching. I was just getting so rich, I didn't give a fuck. I bought Bitcoin not caring if it goes to zero. Yeah. Like income is everything. And there's the amount of people who try and hide behind this thirst for knowledge is truly incredible. Shut up. We said jump on one leg. Jump on one leg. Start jumping. You can talk about your footwear afterwards. You can complain later. I want you jumping on one leg. That's how you win. You win through action. The universe is actually a very giving place. And if you're God or the universe or karma or whatever you want to call it, you have all these blessings to give out. This is very important. And if you give blessings to everybody, then you give blessings to nobody. Because there's no light without dark. If everybody's a millionaire, then being a millionaire doesn't mean anything. You can't buy anything. So there has to be people who win and people who lose. And karma is sitting there with this huge pot of blessings, and it's going through the cosmic ether looking for people. Who can I give some of these blessings to? It's walking around going, oh, a big pot of blessings, who deserves it? And it's just looking for someone who gives a shit and tries. Who's gonna jump on one leg? Oh, he's jumping on one leg, here's some blessings. Oh, he's jumping on one leg, here's some blessings. You might be surprised. If you jump on one leg, you might be surprised that bitch might text you back, finally. You'd be surprised what happens when you actually try. It's amazing. It doesn't make sense. You can't put the two together, but for some reason, you just start winning. You just start winning in poker and winning in dice and winning women, and you just start winning in life. And you're like, well, how am I winning in life all of a sudden? That's how the world works. And as they're walking around with this big pot of blessings, they see all these people who go, I want blessings, but they're just sitting on their ass, refusing to do anything. And the universe is not going to give them to you that way, because if it gave lazy people blessings, then nobody would be blessed, because everybody would be blessed, and there's no light without dark. If I could tell you words that would make you beat me in a fight, training would be pointless. I'm going to beat you because I've trained thousands of hours that you haven't trained, and I'm stronger than you, and I'm faster than you, and I know things you don't know. All you can do is get your ass kicked by me until one day you don't get your ass kicked. All you can do is jump on one leg. Just work. It's going to be hard, but you'll get to the end. If you're going to sit here and feign the quest for knowledge to try and obscure your laziness, you're just going to continuously get battered and destroyed forever. What you have to do is turn up and get your ass kicked until I can't kick your ass anymore. That's the bottom line. That's the only way to get anywhere in life. It's so important. And you know what's amazing to me is how many people can't sell anything ever. And they don't realize that sales is life. Life is sales. That's what people don't understand. Let's say I'm going to make this up off the top of my head. You're a mechanic. Somebody comes into your mechanic shop with a car, and the car is broken. And you know how to fix it. It's one screw. And they say, can you fix it? And you say, yeah, it's a screw. I'll fix it. That's one answer. Or you can say, yeah, I know what it is. I've seen this before. I'm pretty sure I can fix it quickly for you. We're totally full, but I'm going to try and fix it now just so you don't have to wait. Now when you fix it quickly, they're like, this mechanic is you need to go to my guy. He's the best. He fixed it so quickly. He knew exactly what it was. He put me ahead of the line. If you say that as opposed to going, yeah, I can fix it, you now have a customer for life. That is sales. Yep. Sales isn't making people buy things all the time. Sales is selling your service, selling yourself, selling people, believing in you. It's amazing to me how people go through life and don't talk this way. That's the only way I talk. If I talk to by the end of it, she's in love. I don't even mean to. That's just how I talk.
It's an accident.
It's an accident. Everything's a sell.
Yes.
But people don't even possess this basic skill. And then they wonder why they can't get a girlfriend and get any money. It's truly incredible. And everything in life is sales, which is wise because we're moving away from the era of it's what you do as opposed to it's who you are. Like lots of people can sit and talk on a microphone, but when we do it, it matters. When most people do it, it doesn't. It's not what you do anymore, it's who's doing it. And I often say to people, you know, it's not that difficult to see the future if you actually sit and use your brain for a fraction of a second. Because someone said to me, Andrew, you're one of the richest people in the world. And I said, no, I'm not. He said, no, it's not about money. It's the fact that you're making your money actually helping people. You guys are actually helping people. And that has karmic retributions you're going to enjoy for the rest of your human years. Money's great, but you have enough money. There's nothing else to buy. The fact that you're out there in the world helping so many people, that's what makes you rich. It's amazing that if you were to join and dedicate yourself for 1 month, you say, you know what, for 1 month, I won't be a jackass. 1 month.
Come on.
1 month, I won't be a jackass. By the end of that month, you'll understand the world in a different way. You'll have money you never would have had before. You'll have a completely different mindset towards online money. It takes 1 month of your life. Think of what you were doing a month ago. Think of what you've done this last month. What have you done? How much time have you wasted? If I were to say to you, what have you done? You couldn't tell me. And that's what's important. It's extremely important you understand that the universe works the same. It's not going to give it to lazy idiots. It's going to give it to people who actually try and actually work. And the crazy thing is, the action is for themselves, to make this, to help themselves. They still won't do it. Some people, and this is what Luke says, deserve to be poor and are born to lose. Poor people are often poor because they were given 1,000 chances and didn't do anything. You listening right now can take action and get rich. Your life will change forever. You can do it right now. And if you don't do it, well, then don't complain you're poor.
If you don't believe you're the man, you're already finished. Someone out there woke up today ready to take everything you ever wanted. And while you hesitate, he executes. This world doesn't wait for maybe. It bows to certainty. You want the truth? You don't believe in yourself because you've never actually been tested. You've never been forced to stand alone with your back against the wall and your future hanging in the balance. You've been sheltered. You've been pacified. You've been told to be soft, humble, gentle, and look where that got you. Look at your life. Be honest. You walk through this world hoping it doesn't hurt you, begging for comfort, chasing approval. You dress the way others expect. You speak like you're scared to offend. You shrink yourself because someone told you confidence was arrogance, and now you're surprised when life doesn't reward you. The world isn't punishing you. It's just showing you who you really are. Every man who's ever done anything extraordinary had one thing in common. They believed in themselves before the world did. Not when the money came, not when the recognition came. Before it all, when there was no applause, when there were no guarantees, when everyone doubted them, they stood tall, alone, convinced of one thing: I am the man, I will find a way or make one. That's the level of belief it takes to build an empire. And don't get it twisted, self-belief isn't delusion. It's not pretending you're great. It's deciding that you will become great no matter what stands in the way. The moment you start acting like a man who's destined to win, everything around you begins to shift. People feel it. Rooms change when you walk in. Opportunities start appearing. But none of that happens until you make that internal shift. You think confidence comes from achievement? Wrong. Achievement comes from confidence. You build the life you want when you stop seeking validation and start moving like your name belongs in rooms you never even entered. The world doesn't reward the capable, it rewards the certain. You don't need to be the smartest, the strongest, or the most talented. You just need to believe so deeply in your mission that nothing and no one can convince you otherwise. That's when you become dangerous. That's when you stop flinching. That's when you stop begging for opportunities and start creating them. You think people respect talent? No, they respect certainty. Because certainty is rare. Certainty is power. And the only way to develop it is to stop doubting and start deciding. People ask me all the time, Tate, how do I build confidence? And I tell them the truth they don't want to hear. You build confidence by doing hard shit. You build it by waking up when you don't want to. You build it by showing up when you're tired, broken, alone, and still giving your all. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's forged in the fire of consistent action. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you stack a brick of belief. Every time you push when it's easier to quit, you send a message to your mind that you're a man who follows through. And over time, those bricks become a fortress. That's how you become unshakable. That's how you silence the doubt. You earn it. But here's the part no one tells you. You're allowed to believe in yourself, even when you're not there yet. You're allowed to walk like a king before the crown ever touches your head, because belief precedes reality. Every empire starts in the mind of a man who refuses to think small. First thing you have to believe is you're the fucking man. You can achieve anything. And if you're not willing to say that to yourself, if you're too scared to believe it, then who the hell will? Your confidence has to come from the vision you see in your head, not the situation you're stuck in right now. You build from the future backwards. You decide who you're gonna be, and then you live every damn day like that man already exists. You're not weak because you've failed. You're weak because you stopped believing. You let one setback, one betrayal, one bad week convince you that maybe you're not good enough. And that doubt infected everything: your work, your discipline, your presence. It made you passive. It made you soft. It made you forget who you are. And the worst part, you accepted it. You sat in silence and made peace with being average. Let me be clear, you can't be confident and passive at the same time. One has to die. Either you kill the doubt or the doubt kills the man you were meant to become. There is no middle ground. And I know what you're thinking. But what if I fail? What if I try and I still lose? Good. Let the fear sharpen you. Let the pressure mold you. The point isn't to be fearless, it's to be brave in spite of it. Confidence isn't the absence of fear, it's a refusal to be ruled by it. You get knocked down, fine. You get back up with your chest out and your eyes forward because you believe not in luck, not in other people, in yourself. That's the real win. That's the mindset that makes kings out of nobodies. You want to change your life? Then change the way you see yourself. You're not a victim. You're not broken. You're not lost. You are powerful beyond belief, but only if you choose to be. Only if you stop whispering and start speaking with conviction. Only if you stop playing small and start owning your place in this world. Stop looking around for examples. Be the example. Be the standard. Walk, talk, act like the man you know you're capable of becoming. And keep doing it until it's undeniable. Because at the end of the day, confidence is not optional. It's your duty. It's the weapon you need to fight every battle this world throws at you. And if you don't build it, someone else will come along more certain, more committed, and take what was meant to be yours. It's not about arrogance. It's not about ego. It's about survival. It's about becoming so sure of who you are that nothing, not hate, not failure, not fear can shake your foundation. Right? Because I remember being broke, not just broke financially, broke mentally. I wasn't walking around with my chest out. I wasn't commanding attention. I was invisible, not because the world couldn't see me, but because I couldn't see myself. I didn't believe I mattered. And let me tell you something. That's the most dangerous place a man can be. Not rock bottom, not failure, but when he starts believing he was never meant to win in the first place. It wasn't a single moment that changed me. It wasn't a Hollywood scene with fireworks or a sudden flood of motivation. It was a decision. Quiet, violent, permanent. I looked at my reflection one day and I realized this version of me dies today because the man I wanted to become, he wasn't coming to save me. He wasn't some distant version waiting at the end of success. He was inside me, buried under excuses, laziness, and fear. And I had to dig him out with my bare hands. That's where confidence is born. Not in comfort, not in hype, but in the trenches, in the mornings you don't want to wake up, in the workouts where your lungs burn, in the hours of silence where no one sees the work but you do it anyway. People love to say, believe in yourself. Sounds nice, doesn't it? But belief isn't some fluffy mantra. It's war. It's you versus every insecurity that's ever tried to silence you. It's standing firm when the results don't show up. It's telling the world, I don't care if you see it yet. I know who I am, because at one point I was the only person on the planet who believed I'd become something. No claps, no praise, no proof, just a fire in my gut that said, I am not staying here. That's what people don't understand. Confidence isn't loud, it's silent conviction. It's the unshakable decision that mediocrity is no longer an option. I remember when I first started making money, not much, just enough to breathe differently, just enough to walk with purpose. And do you know what I realized? The confidence came before the cash. The internal shift came before the external reward. I had already started acting like a millionaire when my bank balance was still starving. Because I wasn't acting, I was aligning. The world doesn't reward the capable, it rewards the certain. I was certain, not because I had all the answers, but because I was finally asking the right questions. Who do I want to be? What am I willing to sacrifice? How hard am I willing to go to make it real? Most of you are stuck because you're waiting for permission. You're waiting for some magical moment where the stars align and your doubts disappear. That moment will never come. No one is going to walk into your life and crown you king. No one is going to hand you confidence on a silver platter. You either build it or you suffer. You either declare your value or the world assumes you have none. And the thing is, once you taste even a small drop of belief, real belief, it's addictive. Because suddenly you realize you've been living on autopilot. You've been watching your own life like it's a movie you're not even starring in. And for the first time, you grab the wheel and say, I drive from now on. People talk about success like it's this distant mountain you climb once and you're done, but it's not. It's a decision you make every day. You wake up and choose to be a winner, even if you don't feel like one yet. You walk into every room like your name belongs in it. You shake every hand like you're going to be remembered. That's not arrogance, that's certainty forged in pain, repetition, and resilience. Confident isn't look at me, it's I know who I am, whether you see it or not. And let's get one thing straight. Your past doesn't disqualify you. I don't care what you've been through. I don't care if you failed, been humiliated, lied to, cheated on, counted out. That's your power. That's your edge. The scars on your soul are not weakness. They're the proof that you've survived hell. So now when life throws more chaos your way, you smile and say, I've been here before. I didn't fold then, and I'm not folding now. That's self-belief, not the kind you post about, the kind you bleed for. So if you're sitting there right now wondering if you've got what it takes, let me make it simple. You do. But it won't matter until you decide. You have to stop waiting for confidence and start walking like it's already yours. You have to speak with purpose even when your voice shakes. You have to believe you're the man even when the world still sees a boy. And eventually, the world catches up. But the first thing you have to believe is you're the fucking man. You can achieve anything. That belief? It's not arrogance, it's survival. It's power. It's the root of every transformation you'll ever experience. And if you don't own that, if you keep playing small, hiding in your insecurities, pretending you're not ready, someone else will take the life that was meant for you. Confidence is the key that unlocks every door, not because it makes you perfect, but because it makes you unstoppable. Look around you. Every second that passes is gone forever. People waste years doubting themselves, waiting for signs, waiting for motivation, while their future gets robbed by their own hesitation. That clock on the wall isn't ticking politely, it's mocking you. Every minute you waste not believing in yourself is a minute someone else is using to become stronger, richer, sharper. That's the brutal truth. Confidence isn't just a mindset, it's a weapon. And if you don't arm yourself with it, life will eat you alive. The world belongs to those who decide they deserve it before they're handed anything. You're either building belief or building excuses. Fear isn't what holds you back. The real fear should be this, that one day you'll look in the mirror and realize you lived your entire life as a watered down version of yourself. That all the things you could have been, could have done, could have built, died with you. Not because you weren't good enough, but because you didn't believe you were. That fear should haunt you, because the truth is, nobody's coming to tell you it's time. Confidence is a decision you either make now or regret forever. Every person who ever achieved greatness didn't wait to feel ready. They moved with conviction when everything was uncertain. People don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they keep questioning whether they have it. Do you understand how destructive that is? You cripple your own future by assuming it's not yours to take. But here's the truth. Belief is the cheat code. Belief turns average men into legends. Belief transforms silent effort into explosive results. You've got people walking through life sleepwalking, doubting their power, while the few who dare to walk with certainty are snatching every opportunity right out from under them. And what's worse, they're not better than you. They're not smarter. They just decided they were worthy while you're still waiting for someone to confirm it. You want motivation? Here it is. One day, you're going to die. And when that moment comes, there won't be a second chance to go back and act like you believe in yourself. You will either go out knowing you gave everything to become the man you were meant to be, or you'll go out with regret rotting your soul. That's the final scoreboard. That's the game. And no one escapes it. Confidence isn't arrogance. It's urgency in action. It's knowing that your time is limited, your legacy is unwritten, and the only person who can make it happen is staring back at you every morning. Let me ask you something real. What are you waiting for? A perfect plan, the right moment, someone to validate your worth? That day never comes. Life doesn't reward hesitation, it devours it. You either step into your role as the main character, or you live forever in the shadows of people who did. That's the truth nobody wants to admit. Every delay is a betrayal of the man you could become. Every time you doubt yourself, you're confirming the lie the world told you, that you're not enough. But the truth is, you've always been enough. You were just too distracted to see it. When I started building myself, I wasn't chasing applause, I was chasing peace. The peace that comes from knowing I'm not lying to myself anymore. And that peace, it doesn't come from pretending. It comes from bleeding for your vision, sweating through the doubt and showing up when nobody's watching. That's what creates real confidence. That's what makes your presence undeniable. Self-belief is the foundation of dominance. You can't fake it, you can't buy it. You earn it by going to war with your own weakness until it taps out. And I promise you, the moment you choose to believe, fully, unapologetically, obsessively, your life begins to shift. People feel it, doors open, resistance crumbles. Not because the world changes, but because you've changed. You walk different, talk different, think different. You stop asking permission, you stop apologizing for wanting more. That's the power of belief. It rewrites your entire existence from the inside out. And the best part, once you have it, no one can take it from you. Confidence is built through repetition, through fire, through solitude. But once it's yours, it's eternal. So here's the final truth. If you don't start betting on yourself, you'll spend the rest of your life watching other men live the life that was meant for you. And I can't think of anything more painful than that. Forget the fear of failure. Start fearing the cost of never even trying. The biggest risk in life is not believing in yourself enough to take any. You've got one shot, one body, one lifetime. Either you make it count or you become just another ghost walking through life with his head down, pretending he was never meant for more. There's a moment in every man's life where he either breaks or breaks through. That line, that turning point, it doesn't come dressed in comfort or handouts. It comes when you're tired, doubting, suffocating under pressure, and you still choose to say, I'm not backing down. I was built for this. That is where self-belief is forged. Not in applause, not in peace, but in chaos. That's where the men who matter are made. The world doesn't reward the hesitant. It rewards the man who moves like he knows he belongs, even before he has a single thing to show for it. And if you're not moving like that, you're already losing. The truth is, nobody is going to come lift you out of your own doubts. Nobody's showing up to remind you of your worth every morning. That has to be your job. That's the discipline. Every day you either reinforce belief in yourself or reinforce the weakness that's been killing you silently. You can either build the man you admire, or you can watch someone else become him. That's the uncomfortable truth. We'll crowd. There's no secret club, no special bloodline. It's belief that separates the forgotten from the feared. Most people don't even realize how much strength is sitting inside them, untouched, unexplored, wasted. Not because they don't have potential, but because they've spent their lives conditioned to doubt. School didn't teach you how powerful you are. Society never said you were a warrior. They trained you to seek approval, to blend in, to lower your voice. That ends now. You weren't born to be cautious. You were born to be certain. And certainty doesn't come from outside validation. It comes from choosing daily to bet on yourself, regardless of what the world says. Want to feel alive? Start doing what terrifies you. Chase the vision that keeps you awake at night. Speak the truth when your voice shakes. Build the body that makes people respect you before you even speak. That's where confidence is born. In doing the hard things consistently until you become undeniable. It's not about faking it. It's about becoming it. You show up enough times, you struggle enough nights, you silence that voice of doubt long enough, eventually something inside you flips. You stop asking, can I, and start declaring, watch me. I've seen weak men transform into titans, not because life gave them a break, but because they gave themselves no other option. They made a decision that comfort was the enemy and belief was non-negotiable. And the second they made that choice, everything changed. Their posture changed, their energy changed. They started walking like they had nothing to prove and everything to gain. That's the fire I'm trying to light in you. Not temporary motivation, but permanent evolution. When a man finally believes he deserves greatness, the universe starts treating him different. It's real. The world bends for those who stop hesitating. And let me make one thing very clear. The biggest lie you've been told is that confidence is something you wait for. Confidence is earned. It's carved out of failure. It's molded in rejection. You walk through the storms of life with your head high enough times, and eventually you stop feeling the rain. That's what separates the rare from the regular. You think all these successful men are fearless? No. They just stopped negotiating with self-doubt. They buried it, replaced it, outworked it. And they did it while the voices in their head still screamed. That's real confidence. You will never rise until you stop worshiping your limitations. You will never evolve until you start choosing yourself with full force. Not halfway, not kind of, full force. Belief is the ignition switch to every version of success you want. But you'll never hit the gas if you're still waiting for someone to hand you the keys. This is it. This is the message. You don't need permission. You don't need approval. You need to look in the mirror and say, I am the one. I'm not hoping, I'm becoming. From this point on, every step you take should scream belief. Every action you execute should look like it came from a man who already knows where he's headed. Confidence is a muscle. And if you don't train it, it'll shrink until you can't even look yourself in the eye. But train it long enough, and one day you'll walk into rooms and shift the energy without saying a word. That's not ego. That's earned self-respect. And it only comes when you stop waiting and start moving like the future is already yours. There is no plan B. There is no fallback. Burn that idea. Either you rise as the man you were meant to become, or you decay trying to be someone the world is comfortable with. And that's not why you're here. You're not here to play it safe. You're here to dominate, to rise, to roar. And it starts now with a decision. Not a hope, not a wish, a decision to believe so violently in yourself that the rest of your life is forced to obey. Now what? You've heard the words, you felt the fire, but if you don't act, it means nothing. If you don't decide, then everything you just heard becomes just another moment you let pass. And if you let this pass, what else are you letting go? How many times have you convinced yourself to wait? How many mornings have you looked in the mirror and seen a stranger, not because you changed, but because you refused to become what you were destined to be? This is the line. Right now, the version of you that's bold enough to believe, and the version that dies unknown, separated by this moment. But you don't need more time. You don't need more motivation. You don't need someone to babysit your dreams. What you need is the savage commitment to yourself, the kind of decision that silences every excuse, the kind of belief that walks into any situation and owns it like it was built for you. If the doors don't open, you kick them in. If the lights aren't on, you shine anyway. The first person that has to believe in your power is you. And once you do, the world won't have a choice but to catch up. You gotta stop walking like you're unsure if you belong. You gotta kill that timid energy that makes you shrink in your own life. Confidence isn't about being loud, it's about being unshakable. It's the quiet certainty that you're enough, that you've got what it takes, that you were born to make waves, not wait for them. If you still think confidence is something people give you, you've already lost. Confidence is what you build in silence. It's forged in those early mornings where no one's watching and you show up anyway. It's made in the gym, in the grind, in the days you want to quit and don't. This isn't just about success. This is about survival, because if you don't step into your power, the world will convince you you have none. You'll wake up in 10 years surrounded by regrets you built with your own hesitation. You'll be haunted by the chances you didn't take, the man you didn't become, the life you could have had if you had just believed. Regret is a heavy chain, and every day you delay is another link added. Break it now. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Stand the hell up and decide that from this second forward, the old you is done. No more begging for validation, no more hiding your voice, no more apologizing for wanting more. You don't need anyone's approval to become dangerous. You just need to flip the switch and stop negotiating with your potential. You either take control of your life or you get controlled by everything else. That's how this works. Winners don't ask for permission. They don't wait for signs. They create the momentum, and when it doesn't exist, they become it. You're not supposed to wait for greatness. You're supposed to act like it's already yours. Think at your surroundings. Look at your habits, look at your decisions. Are they aligned with a man who believes in himself, or are they the patterns of someone hoping things magically change? Hoping is not a strategy. Belief without action is fantasy. You want to be proud of yourself? You want to walk into every room and own the energy? Then become someone worth respecting. Earn your own admiration. And it starts by doing the thing you're scared of. It starts by holding yourself to a higher standard. No one can respect a man who doesn't even respect his own potential. There's a beast inside you that's been gagged by fear, paralyzed by opinion, suffocated by your own indecision. Let him out. Unchain him. Walk like the king you were born to be. Not because you've done it all, but because you know you will. That's the energy. That's what shifts the room. That's what builds legacy. Not talent, not luck, just unbreakable belief and ruthless consistency. That's it. You've had the power the entire time. You just didn't act like it. Now it's time to become undeniable. So get up. Right now. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for clarity. Move, build, speak, train, create, do everything like the world is already yours, because it is, but only if you have the balls to claim it. This isn't a rehearsal. This isn't a warm-up. This is your life. And the difference between domination and mediocrity is one decision. I believe in me more than anyone else on earth. Say it. Own it. Live it. Because after everything you've heard, there's only one move left. Prove it. You're gonna die. And most of you, you'll die unknown. No legacy, no glory, no respect. Just a name people forget the second you're gone. And you had the chance, but you were too scared to risk. This world rewards the bold, so either take the risk or vanish like you were never even here. Is it that the world doesn't want to admit you're not falling behind because you're incapable? You're falling behind because you keep playing life like it's a practice round. You think there's going to be some second opportunity to get serious, as if life is going to tap you on the shoulder one day and politely say, "Sir, it's your time to win now." That's the lie. There is no perfect moment. There's no round two. The truth is you take the risk or you get forgotten. That's it. Those are your options. Not a motivational quote, not a fairy tale ending, a brutal reality check. And I get it. You're scared to fail, scared to look stupid, scared to lose money, time, energy, scared to fall on your face. But what you don't realize is that every second you hesitate, you're already losing. Not in the big dramatic ways, no alarms go off, no crowd is booing, you just rot quietly. Every dream you delay becomes more distant. Every day you stay still, another man out there risks everything, makes a move, gets sharper, becomes more dangerous. And before you even realize that the gap between you and him is no longer skill, no longer talent, it's simply that he had the balls to move when you didn't. Take the risk or be forgotten. That's not poetry. That's war strategy. The world remembers the man who showed up when it was hard, the one who stared at uncertainty and said, I'll take my chances. The man who gambled it all and came back bloodied, but sharper, smarter, hungrier. He gets written into history. You, playing it safe, you get erased. One quiet regret at a time. You're not tired. You're untested. You're not broken. You're bored. You're not out of options. You've just built a lifestyle where risk looks like death and safety feels like purpose. But guess what? That comfort you're clinging to, it's the slowest form of suicide. It drains you silently, gently rocking you into mediocrity while selling you the illusion of peace. You think you're surviving, but really you're surrendering. You say you want change. You say you're hungry, but then you spend your time reading motivational nonsense, hoping for a spark, hoping for the courage to move. Here's the real motivation. Nobody's coming to save you. There is no cavalry, no mentor, no secret shortcut, just you. You are the rescue mission. You are the only one who can flip that switch. And the only path forward is paved in risk, discomfort, and decisions that will terrify the version of you that's sitting here waiting. And I know what you're thinking. What if I try and fail? Good. Then you'll be a man who knows what failure feels like. That's a hell of a lot better than being the man who never even tried. Because if you fail, you learn. If you fail, you grow. If you fail, you fight again, but stronger. But if you sit still, if you wait, you become invisible. You become nobody. You get forgotten by the world and worse, by yourself. You see, taking the risk isn't just about chasing some money, some car, some lifestyle. It's about earning your own respect. Looking in the mirror and seeing a warrior, not a spectator. It's about knowing deep in your bones that you're alive because you chose to be, not because the world handed it to you. And I promise you this, once you risk it, once you jump into the fire and survive, even if barely, you become untouchable. Not because you have more than others, but because you did more than others were ever willing to. You dared, you endured, you evolved. So burn the backup plan, cut the safety net, silence the fear, because nothing is more expensive than the life you could have lived. The price of hesitation is legacy. The price of safety is obscurity. If you don't move now, if you don't jump now, you will look back one day and realize the worst pain wasn't the times you failed. It was the times you were too scared to even try. So this is it. This is the wake-up slap. This is the moment you decide. You either take the risk or you get erased. One move, one choice, one leap. Be remembered or be forgotten. I remember a time I sat in a room with 4 walls closing in, broke, tired, and invisible to the world. I had nothing. No spotlight, no applause, just me and the silence that kept asking, are you going to die here? Or are you going to do something that forces the world to know your name? And the irony is, back then, the biggest weight on my shoulders wasn't poverty. It was the comfort of excuses, the seductive lullaby of maybe tomorrow. Maybe I'm not ready. Maybe it's too risky. But deep inside, I knew the truth. Tomorrow was a lie I kept feeding myself to avoid the terrifying reality that if I didn't move now, I'd disappear forever. One night, I sat in my cheap apartment, staring at a flickering bulb overhead and a cracked mirror on the wall. I looked myself dead in the eye and asked, is this who you are? A man who waits, a man who plays it safe? And for a second, I wanted to lie to myself again, tell myself that things would change with time. But I'd heard that lie enough. That night, something snapped. Not in anger, not in despair, but in clarity. I realized that no one was coming. No secret opportunity, no magic offer, no miracle phone call. The only way I was getting out of that hellhole was by risking everything I had left, even if that meant failing in front of the whole damn world. And so I moved. I took the little money I had and put it on the line. I said yes to things I didn't feel ready for. I stepped into rooms where I didn't belong, spoke when my voice shook, stood tall when I was surrounded by giants. And I'll be honest, it didn't work immediately. I fell. I was humiliated. I made mistakes that cost me more than I thought I could handle. But do you know it's worse than failing? Watching your life become a rerun of safe choices and small dreams. That's death in disguise. That's slow motion regret. But every time I risked something, every time I gambled on myself, I bled, but I grew. I suffered, but I sharpened. There's a version of me that could have stayed quiet, that could have worked some stable job, kept his head down, avoided judgment, never chased impact, never made enemies, never made history. He would have lived a long, quiet, average life. But let me tell you something. That version of me disgusts me. That version dies nameless. That version gets buried under forgotten dreams and unrealized potential. I chose a different road, one littered with pain, rejection, uncertainty, but laced with glory. I chose to risk being ridiculed in order to be remembered. I chose discomfort over mediocrity, pressure over peace. Why? Because the world doesn't reward the cautious. It remembers the courageous. You think the story doesn't matter, that no one's watching, that there's no point in trying? That's what I thought too, until the day I risked it all and everything changed. The world didn't hand me success. It tested me. It threw me in the pit and watched to see if I'd crawl out or crumble. And I crawled out, bloody, bruised, but unbroken. Every scar on my body is a receipt, proof that I had the courage to jump when others froze, to act when others overthought, to bet on myself when no one else would. People talk about purpose like it's something you stumble into. No. Purpose is earned. It's forged in fire, not found in comfort. You build it by doing the terrifying things, by chasing the ideas that keep you awake at night, by stepping into rooms where your name means nothing and making it mean everything. You don't find yourself in books or podcasts or on your couch. You find yourself when your back's against the wall and the only way forward is through. So now I look at you, scrolling, searching, stuck between safety and something greater, and I'll tell you what nobody else will. You already know what you need to do. The risk you've been avoiding is the exact risk that will build you. The moment you're waiting for won't come unless you force it. This life owes you nothing. It's not about who deserves it. It's about who takes it. It's about who dares to step forward, even if their voice cracks, even if their hands shake, even if they have nothing left to lose. That's what separates the ordinary from the unforgettable. So let me ask you, when does your story begin? When do you decide that fear no longer dictates your pace? When do you realize that the cost of staying where you are is far greater than the risk of becoming who you could be? Because the clock is ticking, the world is moving, and every second you hesitate is a second lost to a man out there who's already made the leap. And when history is written, they won't mention the ones who played it safe. They'll only talk about the ones who were bold enough to risk it all, even when no one believed in them. So what will you be? A whisper in the wind or a storm they'll never forget? You already know the answer. Take the risk or be forgotten. There will come a day, and it's closer than you think, where you will stare at a mirror and see a stranger staring back, a version of you that never lived fully, that played it safe one too many times. And in that moment, fear will grip you, not because of what happened, but because of everything that didn't. That's the real nightmare, waking up too late to fix it. You'll scroll through the memories of what could have been, and they'll burn more than any failure ever could. You won't remember the times you tried and fell. You'll remember the chances you never took, and it'll eat you alive. Not instantly, but slowly. Regret doesn't scream. It whispers. It haunts. It lingers. I don't care how brave you think you are. Time is coming for you. Every second you waste thinking, planning, doubting, someone else is out there acting. He's building. He's moving. He's stacking wins while you hesitate. And the cruel part is the world rewards speed, not perfection. You wait for the perfect plan, the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, and by the time it arrives, someone else has already taken your spot. If you think you've got time, that's the biggest lie you've been sold. The man you could be is dying in every second you delay. Indecision is slow suicide. You're not staying safe. You're rotting quietly. You keep thinking, what if I fail? But the real question is, what if you never even try? What if your name never gets spoken because you never made a move? What if you live a full life and no one even remembers you were here? That should terrify you. That should keep you awake. Being forgotten is not painless. It's the ultimate insult to your existence. You were built for more, but you chose less. You traded immortality for comfort. And one day, when your body's old and your options are gone, you'll wish you could go back and risk everything. But by then, it's too late. You don't get second chances in the game of legacy. Fear is not your enemy. Complacency is. Everyone's afraid. I've been afraid of losing, afraid of looking stupid, afraid of ending up with nothing. But the difference is I moved anyway. I took the shot. I stepped into the fire because I realized early on, no one's coming to save me. No mentor, no angel investor, no lucky break. The only rescue mission was the one I launched for myself. I became the man who acted when it was risky, who stood tall when it was uncomfortable, who walked through doors before he knew what was on the other side. And every time I did, I carved a place for myself in a world designed to ignore the weak. There are men out there less talented than you, less intelligent than you, less disciplined than you, but they're winning because they moved while you were thinking. They seized the day while you rehearsed your speech, and now they live the life you dream of because they took the risk you keep avoiding. That's the pain nobody talks about. The pain of watching someone else live your destiny because you couldn't stomach the uncertainty. You keep searching for signs. Here's your sign. If you're still breathing, it means you still have time, but not much. Every second that passes is another opportunity gone forever. Not paused, not delayed, gone, never to be recovered. And if that doesn't scare you, you're not awake yet. This isn't a game. This is your one shot at building a name, a legacy, a life that outlives your heartbeat. And yet you scroll, you wish, you fantasize while others act, build, and win. You'll never catch them playing it safe. Winners don't wait for certainty. They create it. They jump and build wings on the way down. That's the only way up. Let me make this crystal clear. You are either remembered or you are irrelevant. There is no middle. No participation trophy for existing. The world will either quote you or forget you, and the difference between the two is simple. Risk. The man who risks everything becomes unstoppable. The man who hesitates becomes invisible. There's no softer truth. There's no sugar-coated version. If you want to be anything more than average, you must be willing to bet on yourself when no one else will. And don't think time will wait for you to gather courage. Time doesn't care. It moves without apology. The only question is, will you move with it or be buried by it? The man you dream of being, the one you idolize, admire, envy, he exists, but he's locked behind 1,000 uncomfortable decisions. You don't get to meet him by playing it safe. You have to bleed for him, sacrifice for him, risk it all for him. And when you do, something terrifying and beautiful happens. You become unforgettable. So if there's any part of you that still dreams of more, stop waiting. Stop doubting. Stop hiding behind logic and pretending caution is strategy. It's fear in disguise. Burn the fallback plan, cut the safety rope, stand up and say, if I go down, I'll go down swinging. Because if you don't, you'll live a life so quiet, so small, so tragically average that when you're gone, the world won't even flinch. No legacy, no impact, no echo. Every man alive is given the same currency, time. But what separates the great from the ghosts is what they do with it. You keep saying you're waiting for the right moment. What are you waiting for? Some divine sign? The truth is, the right moment is every moment you're still breathing. Every tick of the clock is a warning. Every sunrise is not just a gift, it's a countdown. You don't have forever. And yet you act like your tomorrow is guaranteed. It's not. You think you're playing it smart by playing it safe, but all you're doing is running out the clock in silence. The man who risks it all wins because he's the only one brave enough to try. You've been trained to avoid danger, to settle for good enough, to treat fear as a stop sign instead of fuel. But I'm telling you right now, if fear doesn't push you, it will paralyze you. You either rise with it or rot underneath it. Nobody's coming to make your dreams real. No one is losing sleep over your wasted potential. The world doesn't care if you never become who you could have been, but you will. Deep down in those quiet moments when the noise dies and the truth creeps in, you'll feel the weight of knowing you could have had more. The sting of seeing others live loud while you remained silent. And that pain will be unbearable because it will be yours. But here's the twist. You're still in the game. right now. You still have time to flip the script. The risk you're avoiding today is the very bridge to the life you keep dreaming about. There is no comfort in greatness. There's no safety in legacy. You want to build something worth remembering? You have to step into the fire willingly. With nothing guaranteed, no applause, no certainty, just raw belief that you are built for this. And let me tell you something most people don't have the balls to admit. You already know what you have to do. You're not lost. You're just scared. Scared that if you try and fail, it'll hurt more than doing nothing. But that's the lie. Doing nothing hurts forever. There are men out there risking it all with less than what you have. They're not smarter, they're not better, they're just bolder. And boldness wins in this world. Not the man who waits, not the man who hesitates. The man who moves with fire in his chest and no backup plan is the one who builds empires. You keep saying one day, that's loser talk. One day is the vocabulary of the forgotten. Winners don't plan forever. They adapt, they dominate. You either chase what you want like your life depends on it, or you stay on your knees wondering why nothing changes. You want power? Then earn it. You want freedom? Then fight for it. You want respect? Then command it through action. There's no handout, no elevator, no cheat code. You must become so undeniable that the world cannot ignore you, even if it tries. That doesn't happen with wishes. It happens with war. You must wake up and go to war with your own weakness, with your fear, with your excuses. Your comfort zone is a death trap dressed in softness. It feels warm while it slowly kills every dream you've ever had. And you know it, you felt it, that silent decay inside, that creeping dissatisfaction that no amount of scrolling or distractions can fix. That's your soul begging you to wake up. I don't care where you come from, what you've done, or how much you've failed. None of that matters if you decide to risk it now, because the moment you act, the world changes. The moment you take that leap, you flip the script. You go from average to dangerous. You go from hidden to remembered. And it all starts with one moment of courage. 1 second where you say, I'm all in. No fallback, no fear, no hesitation, just pure hunger. That's the birth of legacy. That's the beginning of a man who will never be forgotten. You need to understand that success isn't complicated. It's just expensive. And the price is comfort. Are you willing to pay that? Are you willing to bleed? Because if not, you don't deserve the life you keep fantasizing about. This isn't meant to be easy. It's meant to test you. And every test is an invitation to rise. But only if you're willing to gamble everything for something greater. The safe road leads to a silent grave. The risky road? That's where the kings are made. And make no mistake, you are born to be a king. You just have to act like it, fight like it, move like it. There are no sidelines in life. You're either in the arena or you're watching someone else win. The pain of trying will never compare to the torture of what if. Don't live like a shadow. Don't die like a ghost. Rise now. Risk it all. Burn the old version of yourself to the ground if you have to, because buried inside that fire is the real you. The one who refuses to be average, who refuses to settle, who refuses to be forgotten. This is the moment. Right now. Not later, not tomorrow, not when you're ready. The illusion of readiness is the first lie failure whispers in your ear. No one who ever became great was ready. They became ready through action. They stepped into the storm unprepared, uncomfortable, unqualified, and they fought their way into becoming someone who couldn't be ignored. You want to know the truth? The greatest risk is the one you're avoiding. The one that haunts you, the one that lives in the back of your mind and whispers at 3 a.m., what if? That risk, the one you keep pushing away, is the only thing standing between the life you have and the legacy you crave. And if you don't take it now, you'll spend the rest of your life haunted by the echo of a man you never became. You've heard enough speeches. You've watched enough videos. You've fantasized about the breakthrough, the glow up, the power. But when do you stop consuming motivation and start becoming the one who gives it? When does the boy become the warrior? When does the man rise and say, enough, I will not waste another second? Stop telling yourself you need more time. Time is not your friend. It's a silent thief. It doesn't knock. It doesn't warn. It just takes. And while you wait for someday, time is erasing you, one silent hour at a time, until you vanish, until you become one of the many who lived soft and died silent. Take the risk or be forgotten. That is not a slogan. That is the law. Do you think the world will hand you greatness? Do you believe success will be delivered neatly to your door because you want it bad enough? That's not how it works. You are either grinding when it's painful or you're losing when it's easy. You're either breaking the limits inside you or you're watching someone else rewrite history. You can't fake war. You can't shortcut legacy. You either step into it raw, exposed, vulnerable, or you never step at all. The man who waits for perfect conditions dies in perfect mediocrity. Stop rehearsing. Life is not a rehearsal. This is the one shot, and you are either pulling the trigger or you're watching your dreams bleed out. You see, you want to be remembered. Then act like it. Act like your last name deserves to mean something. Act like your bloodline has purpose. Stop walking like a ghost through your own life. Stand the hell up. The pain of discipline is nothing compared to the pain of regret. You'll survive every failure, but you will not survive a life of what ifs. You will drown in it, slowly, silently. So what if it's hard? So what if you lose? So what if you fall flat? At least you tried. At least you moved. At least you earned your scars instead of avoiding the battlefield altogether. And in that fight, even in failure, you gain something no coward will ever understand. Respect for yourself. You've been comfortable for too long, and comfort is a silent killer. It robs you of urgency. It numbs your ambition. You start trading hours for entertainment, trading dreams for distractions, trading the throne for a pillow. But deep down, you know you were built for more. You feel it in your chest, in your bones, in that fire that refuses to die no matter how many excuses you try to suffocate it with. That fire is still alive. It's waiting for you to stop playing small. It's waiting for you to risk being seen, to risk being judged, to risk being great. What you need is not another opportunity. You don't need luck. You need a decision. You need to wake up tomorrow and declare war on every part of you that is weak, soft, scared. That version of you must die today. Not gradually, not someday, now. Because men who wait rot, and men who move rise. The throne doesn't go to the man who talks the loudest. It goes to the man who moves first. You either rise or you rot. There is no middle ground. There is no safe path to power. Power is earned in the trenches. And the trenches are filled with men who chose risk over routine. You're not like them. You were not born to blend in. You were not built to exist in silence. You were designed to be dangerous, to dominate, to conquer. But none of that happens without risk. And if you can't take the leap now, then admit to yourself you never wanted it. Because men who want it, go get it. They don't talk, they don't ask, they don't wait, they act. And they keep acting until the world moves or breaks beneath their footstep. That's the only language reality understands. Force. Consistent, relentless, unapologetic force. You want success? Then stop waiting for it to come to you. It's not going to knock on your door. It's not going to offer you a seat at the table. You have to build your own table. You have to fight for every inch, every moment, every opportunity. Time's ticking, and every second you hesitate is the second someone else is getting closer to your dreams. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to be the one who stands tall when it matters, or the one who fades away with regret? Right now, it's your choice. You need to hear the truth, even if it cuts deeper than you're ready for. Every excuse you make, every lazy day you accept, every moment you hesitate, it is all self-inflicted sabotage. You are the architect of your own destruction. You can dress it up however you want. Blame your parents, blame your environment, blame your lack of opportunity. But the reality is simple. No one is holding you back but yourself. Life doesn't owe you anything. The universe isn't here to hand you success wrapped in a neat little package. You are exactly where you deserve to be because of the decisions you've made. That's the brutal reality most people will never tell you because they want you weak, compliant, and forgettable. But you weren't born to be average. You weren't put on this earth to live a life of quiet desperation, scrolling through fake lives online and pretending you're happy. Briefly down, you know it. You feel the weight of your wasted potential every time you lay your head down at night and wonder why nothing changes. You think you're tired? You're not tired. You're undisciplined. You haven't earned the right to be tired. Real exhaustion is a privilege reserved for those who have bled for their future. Real fatigue comes after pushing past your limits, not after half-hearted efforts and mediocre dreams. The man who truly works himself to the bone doesn't complain about being tired. He smiles. Because pain is the proof he's getting stronger. Pain is not your enemy. It is your guide. Every ache, every moment of discomfort, every sacrifice is a step toward becoming the person you're supposed to be. Yet most of you run from it. You fear struggle when struggle is your only path to greatness. You want to be rich, respected, powerful, but you aren't willing to crawl through hell to get there. And that's why you will lose. Success does not belong to the man who wants it. Success belongs to the man who is willing to suffer for it, fight for it, and die for it. Comfort is a slow death. Every time you choose ease over discipline, you are digging your own grave with a smile on your face. Discipline is freedom disguised as suffering. The world will lie to you, tell you that you should take it easy, tell you that balance is key, that self-love means indulging every weakness. Understand this, the people who preach comfort are the ones who've already surrendered. They need you to be weak to justify their own weakness. If you want to live like a lion, you cannot think like a sheep. Every single goal you've ever had is waiting for you on the other side of discipline. You don't need another motivational quote. You don't need another video telling you to believe in yourself. What you need is action. Ruthless, daily, unrelenting action. Dreams mean nothing without execution. Wake up earlier, train harder, read more, build your mind until it is impenetrable, your body until it is a weapon, your spirit until it is unbreakable. You have no idea how powerful you could be if you committed fully, if you stopped flirting with your potential and decided to marry it instead. But here's the part nobody tells you. It's not too late. It doesn't matter how far behind you feel, how many mistakes you've made, how many years you think you've wasted. Every man has the power to reinvent himself the moment he decides to stop making excuses and start making moves. You are not defined by your failures unless you let them own you. Forgive yourself for the weakness of yesterday, but do not excuse it for another second. Stand up. Choose to be relentless. Choose to be the man who refuses to be outworked, outdisciplined, or outlasted. No one can take that from you, except you. You are not made to coast through life in a fog of mediocrity. You were made to conquer yourself first, and through that conquest, conquer everything else. The real war is internal. It's you versus the lazy version of you. It's you versus the fearful, doubting, quitting version of you. Every day you either kill that version of yourself or you become it. If you aren't fighting for your future, you're surrendering it. There is no neutral ground. You are either winning or losing, building or decaying, progressing or dying. Every second counts because every second lost is momentum you may never get back. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be. Nothing extraordinary was ever built from easy. Ease is the enemy of excellence. The beauty is that if you choose to embrace the hardship now, to build resilience instead of excuses, your future will be a masterpiece. Not perfect, but powerful. Not without scars, but full of pride. When you look back, you won't see regret. You'll see a battlefield where you stood tall when others fell. You'll see a life worth remembering. A life that mattered, a legacy that echoes long after you're gone. And it starts with one decision: to stop betraying yourself, to stop pretending tomorrow is promised, to stand up right now and move with the force of a man who finally understands that destiny isn't found, it's forged. You have everything you need already inside you: discipline, grit, fire. It's there, buried under the lies, waiting to be unleashed. The only question is whether you're ready to suffer for it, fight for it, bleed for it, because that's what it takes. And if you are, there is no force on earth that can stop you from becoming exactly who you were born to be. I remember a time when I had nothing but anger in my chest and a dream in my mind. I was broke, sleeping on a mattress that was thinner than my excuses, staring at a cracked ceiling every night, wondering if this was it, if life had already decided who I was allowed to be. But somewhere deep inside, a voice was screaming louder than the doubts, louder than the fear. If you do not become the man you are destined to be, you will suffer a lifetime of regret. And that thought terrified me more than failure ever could. Regret is the real nightmare. Failure is simply a lesson in disguise, but regret is a permanent scar you carry to your grave. I made a decision that night, not a wish, not a hope, a decision. I would either build the life I saw in my mind or I would die trying. There was no middle ground. There was no plan B. If you give yourself an escape route, you've already decided to fail. Every day after that was a battle, and not against the world, against myself, against the weakness that whispered, take a day off, against the fear that hissed, you're not good enough, against the lazy voice begging for comfort. I killed that version of myself 1,000 times over. Every workout, every early morning, every sacrifice was another nail in the coffin of the man I refused to be. I wasn't motivated every day. Motivation is fleeting. But discipline, that was the anchor. Motivation is the spark, but discipline is the fire that never goes out. I learned that real strength isn't built when you feel like grinding. It's built when you don't. When you're tired, when you're broken, when no one is watching and no one will clap for you, but you push anyway because you know the world owes you nothing. I had friends who laughed at me, who told me I was obsessed, that I needed to relax, that I was missing out on life. They didn't realize that missing out on mediocrity wasn't a loss, it was liberation. I saw them chasing temporary highs, wasting time they would never get back, convincing themselves they had forever to get serious. The man who believes he has time is the man who is already lost. Time is a brutal enemy because it doesn't announce when it's about to leave you behind. It just moves, cold and merciless, while you sit there thinking you can catch up tomorrow. There are days when the hunger gnawed at my stomach and the doubt gnawed at my mind. Days when the future seemed so far away. It was like chasing a ghost, but quitting was never an option. The harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. I didn't chase comfort, I chased greatness. And greatness demands that you sacrifice the man you are for the man you can become. Every tear, every drop of sweat, every lonely night was an investment in the future self I refused to betray. I saw a vision of the man I wanted to be. Strong, fearless, relentless. And I owed it to him to fight like hell. You are not defined by your circumstances unless you choose to be. You are not trapped unless you accept the cage. I had every reason to stay average. I had every excuse available. No money, no connections, no backup plan. But excuses are the language of the defeated. Excuses are just confessions of weakness wrapped in pretty words. I chose to speak the language of winners. Action, sacrifice, resilience. I realized that if I wasn't willing to sacrifice for my dreams, I would be sacrificing my dreams for nothing, and that was unacceptable. When the breakthrough finally came, it wasn't because the world suddenly decided to reward me. It was because I had become the man capable of receiving it. Success isn't something you stumble into, it's something you are forged into. The universe doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you deserve. I didn't deserve victory when I was weak, lazy, and inconsistent. I deserved struggle. It was only when I bled for my goals, when I clawed for every inch of progress, when I became unrecognizable from the man I used to be, that success started hunting me down. Looking back, every hardship was necessary. Every moment of doubt, every setback, every lonely night, it all built the calluses on my mind and the fire in my spirit. Without the pain, I would have stayed soft. Without the setbacks, I would have stayed weak. Without the lonely nights grinding while others partied, I would have stayed average. Pain is the price of power, and only the brave are willing to pay it. You are standing at that crossroads right now, whether you realize it or not. Every choice you make, every action you take is voting for the man you will become. Will you vote for the weak version who runs from challenge? Or will you vote for the savage who refuses to kneel? Understand this. There will never be a perfect moment. There will never be a day when you wake up and everything is lined up for you. Success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who act while they're scared, while they're tired, while they're uncertain. You don't need to be ready, you need to move. You need to stop treating ambition like a hobby and start treating it like life and death. Because it is. If you want to live, truly live, not just exist, then you must kill every excuse, burn every bridge that leads back to comfort, and storm forward like your soul depends on it. I didn't make it because I was special. I made it because I decided I was finished being ordinary. That's the only real choice you ever need to make. And once you make it fully, completely, without hesitation, the world has no choice but to make way for you. The greatest lie you've ever been told is that you have time. You don't. Time is a predator stalking you every second, devouring your chances, your dreams, your potential, while you sit there pretending tomorrow is guaranteed. It's not. The man who hesitates is already dead. He just hasn't realized it yet. Every day you waste is a day the man you could have been slipped further away, and one day you're gonna wake up, look in the mirror, and realize you lost a war you didn't even bother fighting. Fear doesn't come from the unknown. It comes from knowing deep inside that you were built for more and doing nothing about it. Every second you delay, you are choosing comfort over greatness, safety over evolution, death over life. People talk about fear like it's some enemy. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is your compass. If it scares you, it's the path you must walk. Fear exposes where your true potential lies, but weak men run from it because confronting fear demands sacrifice, and sacrifice demands you leave the old version of yourself behind. The coward seeks safety and distraction. The winner uses fear as fuel. When I felt fear, I didn't retreat. I sharpened my weapon. I built my mind like a fortress so that no storm could tear it down. You must learn to stand in front of fear like a soldier facing the battlefield, understanding that fear is not there to stop you. It's there to show you that you're still alive, that you still have something worth fighting for. Urgency is a language most men refuse to speak until it's too late. They live like life is some endless rehearsal, like there's a second act where they can finally become serious. There are no reruns. There is no second act. You either seize the moment or you are seized by regret. I've seen men with all the talent in the world rot because they moved like they had forever. They didn't understand that life doesn't wait for you to feel ready. Love doesn't tap you on the shoulder and politely ask if now would be a good time to chase your dreams. Life moves forward whether you participate or not, and every second you stall, you are handing your destiny over to someone who's willing to move without hesitation. There's a graveyard out there full of men who thought they had time. Dreams buried 6 feet under because someone was too scared to start, too lazy to persist, too blind to see that the clock was always ticking. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. If you think you're safe because you're comfortable, you're already in danger. Comfort is the slowest form of suicide. It lulls you to sleep while your potential withers away. Every day you wake up without hunger in your chest, without urgency in your veins, you are voluntarily killing the man you were supposed to become. You don't get to negotiate with time. You don't get to explain yourself at the end. You either build or you decay. That's the only choice there ever was. The world is moving while you hesitate. Opportunities are passing by while you scroll through nonsense, while you drown in distractions that rot your mind and steal your focus. Your competition is not waiting for you to feel motivated. They're building empires while you make excuses. Every second you waste is a second they are using. Every weakness you entertain is an advantage you are handing over to someone else. You think you're standing still, but you're actually falling behind. The world doesn't pause because you're confused. It doesn't slow down because you're scared. It punishes the weak and rewards the relentless. And the only thing that determines where you end up is whether you move with brutal urgency or stay paralyzed by excuses. One day you're gonna wish you started sooner. One day you're gonna look around and realize you are surrounded by men who dared to move while you waited for permission. There's no shame in starting small. There's only shame in not starting at all. The fear you feel right now is not a reason to stop. It's the proof you're still breathing, still alive, still capable of change. But that window will close. Time will harden around you like concrete, and when it does, there will be no escaping the prison you built with your own hesitation. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to move. You just have to fight. You just have to refuse to surrender to the coward inside who whispers lies of comfort and tomorrow. General dreams are dying while you hesitate. Your future is bleeding out while you tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There is no later. There is no someday. There is only now. And right now, you have the chance to tear apart every limitation, to shatter every excuse, to step into the savage version of yourself that fear has been trying to hide from you. The future belongs to those who seize the present with violent hands. Stop waiting. Stop negotiating with your doubts. Burn the ships. Kill the weak voice inside. And storm forward like there's a gun to your head, because there is. It's called time. You are either building a legacy or digging a grave. Every action you take is a chisel, carving your future into stone. Every decision you make is a brick, either building a throne or a tomb. You are not powerless. You are not a victim. You are the architect of your destiny, but only if you move like your life depends on it, because it does. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you greatness. And with my dad, it must be ripped from the jaws of fear, wrestled from the grip of laziness, and claimed through a relentless, brutal assault on every excuse, every weakness, every lie you've ever told yourself. Now is the time to rise. Now is the time to unleash the monster within. Now is the time to move with urgency, to act with violence, to chase your potential with a savage hunger that cannot be reasoned with. Because if you don't, the only thing waiting for you is regret, and regret is a prison that no amount of money, no amount of tears, no amount of begging will ever set you free from. There is no greater hell than the life of the man who could have been something and chose to be nothing. Most people will never know what it feels like to be truly alive because they spend their lives avoiding discomfort, running from hardship, pretending that mediocrity is acceptable. They have no idea what it means to wake up every morning with fire in their veins, a war cry in their soul, and a purpose that drags them out of bed long before the world even stirs. Comfort is the enemy of greatness, and the man who seeks ease will find himself buried under the weight of regret. You were not put here to live soft. You were not born to exist quietly, fading away unnoticed. You were built for war, for conquest, for the relentless pursuit of a life so extraordinary that it shakes the very foundations of reality. Every day you choose to be less than you are capable of being. You betray the gift of life itself. There's a version of you that doesn't flinch at fear, that doesn't fold under pressure, that doesn't make excuses when the weight gets heavy. That version of you already exists. It's not a fantasy, it's a decision away, but you will never meet that version if you keep letting weakness win. The battle is fought every morning when you open your eyes. Do you rise up and attack the day like your life depends on it, or do you lie there drowning in excuses, pretending that the universe owes you another chance? No one is coming to wake you up. No one is coming to push you forward. It's you versus you. And every second you hesitate, the weaker version of yourself gains ground. You are either killing the coward inside you, or you are feeding him. Your dreams are not out of reach, your work ethic is. Your goals are not impossible, your discipline is. Your life is not limited, your ambition is asleep at the wheel. The future you want isn't waiting somewhere in the distance. It's hidden in the sacrifices you refuse to make today. If you aren't willing to bleed for what you want, you don't deserve it. If you aren't willing to suffer through the doubt, the failure, the loneliness, then don't dare speak of greatness, because greatness is reserved for the few who are willing to endure what the many refuse to even face. You have the power to become unstoppable, but only if you are willing to set yourself on fire with relentless drive and burn every excuse to ashes. The world isn't designed to make you strong, it's designed to break you, to distract you, to make you forget that inside your chest beats the heart of a warrior. Every ad you see, every lie you're fed, every fake dopamine hit is engineered to keep you weak, dependent, sedated. The system doesn't want you powerful, it wants you pacified. You are surrounded by traps. And every time you indulge in laziness, every time you escape into comfort, you are stepping willingly into the cage. Wake up, rage against it, refuse to let your mind rot in the prison of mediocrity. Every action you take must be a rebellion against weakness. Every step you move must be an act of war against the life that society tries to lull you into accepting. You were built for the storm. You were designed to endure hardship, to rise under pressure, to sharpen yourself against the grindstone of reality. Pain isn't your enemy, it's your proving ground. Suffering is the tuition you pay for greatness. When life punches you in the mouth, you don't cry, you don't fold, you don't beg for mercy. You smile through the blood, you spit out the excuses, and you keep fighting because you understand that diamonds are only formed under pressure and legends are only born through fire. Every hardship you endure is a hammer blow forging you into something unbreakable. Every failure you survive is a lesson sharpening your edge. Your body is your weapon. Your mind is your fortress. Your spirit is your shield. And every single day you must sharpen them, strengthen them, reinforce them. If you're not training, you're decaying. If you're not growing, you're dying. There is no neutral in life, only forward or backward. When you skip the workout, when you waste another hour, when you indulge another weakness, you are actively choosing to become weaker, softer, smaller. Meanwhile, the version of you who refused to skip, who refused to waste, who refused to soften, is out there, waiting, more powerful than you can even imagine. And every day you delay is a day you drift further away from him. Most men will die without ever knowing what they could have been because they let weakness whisper them into a life of quiet desperation. They accept jobs they hate, relationships that drain them, routines that numb them because it's easier to exist than to fight. Existing is not living. If you are not chasing something that terrifies you, that demands everything from you, then you are wasting your pulse. You are squandering the breath in your lungs. You were not born to tiptoe safely to death. You were born to storm through life like a hurricane, leaving a legacy so powerful that generations from now, your name still echoes with reverence. Because there's a brutal, beautiful truth about life. Nobody cares how you feel. The universe doesn't adjust itself to accommodate your emotions. It doesn't shrink itself because you're tired or expand itself because you're motivated. The universe rewards action, not intention. You either win or you don't. You either rise or you fall. Feelings are irrelevant. Action is everything. When you don't feel like training, that's when you train the hardest. When you don't feel like working, that's when you grind the deepest. Discipline is doing what must be done, even when you are at your weakest, especially when you are at your weakest. And if you want to know the difference between winners and losers, is this: losers wait to feel like it. Winners act regardless. Winners move through fear. Winners move through doubt. Winners move through fatigue. They refuse to give excuses a place to live inside their minds. They kill weakness before it has the chance to breathe. The cost to greatness is everything comfortable, everything easy, everything soft inside you. And the reward? Immortality, legacy, a life that means something. You have inside you all the tools you need. You just have to stop looking for the easy way. There is no shortcut. There is no magic formula. There is only the relentless, savage pursuit of better every single day, whether you feel like it or not. There's no finish line. There's only the next battle, the next climb, the next level. And the truth is, the journey itself is the reward. The suffering you endure transforms you. The struggle you face elevates you. The war you fight within yourself makes you unstoppable. Now is the time to kill weakness. Now is the time to rise. Now is the time to embrace the grind with open arms, to love the pain, to crave the challenge, because every day you fight, every battle you win, every weakness you destroy brings you closer to the invincible version of yourself that the world cannot break, cannot silence, and will never forget. This is it. This is your life. No more second chances. No more pretending you have time. Every breath you take is a blessing and a countdown. Every tick of the clock is a reminder that the opportunity to become something legendary is slipping through your fingers while you waste your hours hesitating. You don't have tomorrow. You only ever have right now. Right now is when you choose who you are going to become. Right now is when you either build the life you dream about or watch it rot into a pile of wasted potential because you were too weak to move. You owe it to yourself to get up. You owe it to yourself to fight for something bigger than your excuses. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody's handing you the life you want. Nobody cares about your sob stories, your failures, your wasted years, and they shouldn't, because the world isn't obligated to give you anything. You were given life. That's the only lottery ticket you'll ever get. What you do with it is entirely up to you. Life is brutal, but it's fair. It gives to the ones who take. And if you're not ready to take what you want with your bare hands, if you're not willing to earn it with your sweat, your blood, your sleepless nights, then be prepared to watch someone else live the life you were too soft to fight for. You need to wake up every single day like you are at war, because you are. War against your own weakness, war against your distractions, war against the part of you that wants to quit. You need to move with urgency, with aggression, with ferocity. Success isn't found by the man who moves slowly and carefully. It's seized by the man who sprints toward it with reckless courage. Every second you hesitate, someone else is outworking you. Someone else is staying sharper, hungrier, harder. And when you meet them in the battlefield of life, they will crush you without hesitation because they were ready and you weren't. It's not about feeling motivated. It's about committing so deeply to your mission that quitting is not even a whisper in your mind. When it hurts, you push harder. When it's boring, you stay locked in. When everyone else is sleeping, you're building. Discipline is loyalty to your future self. Every sacrifice you make, every comfort you deny yourself, every second you push when you want to stop, you are casting a vote for the man you are becoming. Every time you choose hard over easy, pain over pleasure, growth over comfort, you step closer to a version of yourself that the world will never be able to ignore. Look around you. Most people are asleep, sleepwalking through life, living on autopilot, pretending that mediocrity is normal, pretending that dreams are for someone else. But you are awake now. You know the truth. You feel that fire burning inside you. The difference between living and existing is the fire in your soul. Don't let it go out. Don't let the noise of the world drown it. Protect it with your life, because that fire is your gift and the world needs to feel its heat. You are more powerful than you realize. Every limitation you think you have is a lie you've accepted. Every ceiling you think exists is a story you've been told. The only walls around you are the ones you refuse to tear down. Tear them down. Rip them apart with your bare hands if you have to. There is nothing stopping you except the chains you refuse to break. And once you understand that, once you truly feel it in your bones, you become dangerous in a way that the world has no answer for. A man who believes in himself is a weapon no one can stop. You have to decide right now that you will never again settle, never again lower your standards, never again make yourself small to make other people comfortable, never again shrink from your potential because you're scared of failure. Fear is the compass. The more it terrifies you, the more it's the direction you must move toward. You will not be the man who looks back with regret. You will not be the man who wasted his prime years chasing distraction instead of destiny. You'll not be the man who dies full of dreams he was too cowardly to chase. You'll be the man who bled, who suffered, who fought, who conquered. This is your moment, your declaration, your uprising against everything weak inside you. Every day is a battlefield. Every moment is a decision. Are you going to step forward into power or back into fear? Are you going to forge yourself into something extraordinary, or are you going to keep living in the shadow of what you could have been? Comfort zones are graveyards where dreams go to die. Step out. Stay out. Burn the bushel behind you. Never retreat. Never surrender. You will stumble. You will fall. You will fail. But every time you do, you get back up harder, smarter, angrier. You refuse to stay down because warriors don't die easy. Warriors turn their scars into armor. The man who gets back up one more time than he's knocked down is unstoppable. That's the man you are becoming. Every setback is a setup. Every loss is a lesson. Every pain is a payment toward your ultimate victory. You are building something the world cannot take away. You are carving your name into eternity with your bare hands. Every day you grind. Every day you fight. Every day you refuse to fold. You are writing a legacy that will outlive you. You are building a life that roars louder than your doubts, a life that silences every voice that ever said you couldn't, a life that becomes undeniable proof that greatness is not given, it is seized, it is earned, it is built through blood and bone and willpower. Now move. Move like your soul depends on it. Move like you are being chased by mediocrity, and the only way to survive is to run faster, fight harder, hit stronger. Action is the bridge between dreams and reality. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is the one you create by acting now, by burning every excuse to the ground, by grabbing your life with both hands and ripping it away from the grip of average. You are not average. You were never meant to be. Deep down, you've always known it. You feel it every time you look in the mirror and see flashes of the king you're supposed to be. Don't die with that fire still trapped inside you. Let the world feel your power. Let them witness the rise. Let them watch as you become the man you were always destined to be. Relentless, fearless, unstoppable. This is your call to arms. This is your revolution. And it begins the second you decide that nothing and no one will ever stand in your way again.